Welcome back to the Deep Dive. Our mission today is to get in the architectural blueprints of digital entry. Specifically, we're looking at the registration and verification process for a system called Victory with Ash. And this isn't just about, reviewing a simple sign-up flow. The sources we have really suggest this whole process is a foundational statement.
It really is. It's a statement about the future of digital identity.
Right.
It's an exploration of a core modern problem, really. In the digital world, you're constantly fighting this tension between security and accessibility.
They're always at odds.
Always. If you maximize one, you almost always have to compromise the other. And Victory with Ash is, well, they're attempting to find that perfect balance. The tagline is simple, secure, and universal registration.
And the central promise is that the entry point has to be easy, fast, dignified, and designed for everyone.
Yeah, dignified, that's the one that really stands out to me. It's not a word you usually see in tech specs.
No, it's not. And that's a profound challenge. I mean, for you, the listener, you know the frustration, right? The endless forms, the fields that feel way too invasive, the 9 different password criteria.
Oh, the password criteria. One uppercase, one number, one special character, the blood of a unicorn.
Exactly. And then the inevitable, I forgot my password, ritual that you have to go through every other week. Technology, far too often, it just feels like a gatekeeper.
It does.
So our deep dive today has to unpack the technical choices, the actual architecture that allows this system to claim it, can prioritize extreme user friendliness and this idea of dignity while still holding up robust security standards.
Precisely. We're looking at a system where the core guiding principle seems to be that technology must empower people, not complicate their lives. I mean, if the very first step, the process of just joining a platform, creates barriers,
then you've already failed.
You've already failed. Yeah. Whether those barriers are technical or geographical or even cognitive, you're inherently limiting who can participate. And if mass participation is your goal, then complexity has to be your primary enemy.
So we have to analyze whether their technical choices actually live up to that very philosophical commitment.
Exactly. It's a strategic choice, and it's one aimed at massive, equitable, global scaling.
Okay, so let's start there. Let's start with the intent, because that's where any architectural requirement really beats.
Sounds good.
The sources are pretty blunt. They point out that most digital platforms make registration complicated. They want maximum data, they assume you have high technical proficiency, and they definitely assume you have a stable modern computer or phone.
Right, they assume you're sitting in a place with high-speed fiber.
And Victory with Ash explicitly positions against that. They're doing the opposite. So what does designing for the opposite actually, what does it mandate in terms of like the actual user interface design?
Well, it mandates a complete shift in priority, a total flip. When you're designing for a global audience, especially for users new to these kinds of digital interfaces or they're operating in conformations, you just can't afford any ambi. It means you have to reduce what's called cognitive load. That's the mental effort it takes to just understand and interact with the system. So practically, that means a really clear visual hierarchy, minimalist text, and just eliminating every unnecessary option.
So if you're designing for, say, an elder or a busy parent who's multitasking, every single decision has to be immediate and totally obvious.
That's it, exactly.
So we're talking about things like maybe significantly larger hit targets for buttons, so they're easier to tap.
Yes, definitely. And minimizing scrolling, making sure the sequence of steps is absolutely linear, there's no ambiguity, the interface has to be predictable, stripping away anything that looks like jargon or complex navigation.
And you're designing the product to be used with confidence, not confusion.
Precisely. And that's why their list of target users is so revealing. It goes so far beyond the usual group of tech-savvy users. The system was explicitly designed for youths, parents, and elders, right alongside professionals and founders.
That feels like a very deliberate attempt at sociological inclusivity.
It is. Because if the system works seamlessly for an elder with low digital literacy, it's going to be absolutely frictionless for everyone else. It forces the design team to make sure visual cues are intuitive, minimizing the reliance on these learned interface patterns that might only be common in, say, North America or Europe.
And just including those that immediately forces architectural choices focus on maximum reliability, not just maximum features. If your user base includes an elderly person who's just trying to register quickly, or a busy parent on a 5-minute break, the system absolutely has to respect that limited time and focus.
Absolutely. But we need to really hone in on two critical user groups that define the true technical constraint here.
Which are
People with slow networks and people with basic or entry-level smartphones. This is where the engineering discipline gets truly, truly rigorous.
because the platform has to function perfectly in the most constrained environments on the planet.
Yes. If you fail those users, you fail the entire mission of universality. It's that simple.
You can't just, throw a heavy JavaScript framework at a user on a 2G network and expect it to work.
Not at all.
This signals that Victory with Ash had to make some fundamental architectural decisions that a lot of Western-centric platforms just bypass because they assume everyone has high-speed fiber, or at least 4G connectivity. If a page takes 30 seconds to load, you've already lost the user. It doesn't matter how simple the form is.
That is the core technical takeaway. Designing for low bandwidth means data transfer has to be aggressive. We're talking about optimizing every single asset, implementing extreme compression standards like Brotli or gzip, and critically, prioritizing what's called server-side rendering over heavy client-side rendering.
Okay, can you break that down a little? SSR versus CSR?
Sure. So client-side rendering, or CSR, is what a lot of modern websites do. They send a bundle of code to your phone, and your phone's processor has to do all the work of building the page you see.
Which is fine if you have a new iPhone.
Exactly. But if your device has limited processing power and the network is slow, forcing the device to render that complex interface locally will cause the system to freeze or crash or just fail entirely.
So server-side rendering or SSR?
With SSR, the server does all the heavy lifting. It builds the page and sends a nearly complete lightweight file to your phone. This means the user sees a functional page almost instantly, regardless of how old their device is or how slow their network is.
And designing for basic or older smartphones means you're avoiding reliance on high processing power for, fancy trans-resolution images.
Yes. The code base itself has to be lean. You avoid large libraries, unnecessary dependency, all to ensure it executes rapidly, even on a device with limited RAM.
The inclusion of these two user types, the slow network users and the basic smartphone users, it really signals that the system is optimized for areas of the world where connectivity is limited or expensive or just plain unreliable.
And that commitment indicates an intent for truly universal adoption. It ensures that access is not predicated on your economic advantage or your geographic location. It's an infrastructure choice that's rooted in equity.
The source material also gives this brilliant, really practical entry for the technical skill threshold. It states very clearly, no special skills are needed. If you can open WhatsApp, Facebook, YouTube, or email, you can register in Victory with Ash with ease.
That analogy is the core litmus test. It's so smart.
Why?
Because it recognizes that while billions of people may not understand, say, blockchain or encrypted communication, they do understand their common daily mobile apps. They know how to tap a button, type in a field, and respond to a prompt.
So by setting the skill threshold, the level of familiarity of these huge, widely adopted apps, they're basically declaring that traditional digital literacy is not a prerequisite for participation.
Exactly. This is maximum inclusion, and it's achieved through relatable reference points.
And if we really analyze the implication of designing for this lowest common technical denominator, it signals a massive intent for truly global adoption. This is how you reach users in regions with limited connectivity who are just typically excluded from these data-heavy, demanding systems.
It's an exercise in equity, making sure that the digital front door isn't unnecessarily locked by infrastructure limitations.
And this level of optimization, it can't be cheap or easy.
Oh, not at all. It requires constant performance auditing and development choices that actually restrict features that might be considered standard on other modern platforms. Every decision to include a graphic or an animation has to be weighed against the cost of data and time for that lowest common user.
That's a huge sacrifice.
It is, but it reinforces the commitment to universality and dignity. They're choosing to serve the most constrained user equally as well as the most privileged. And that is the foundation upon which this whole three-step architecture is built.
So the philosophy is sound, simplicity, but it's driven by this necessity of global inclusivity and equity. Now let's move right into that architecture and see how this philosophy translates into the actual user.
Okay, so the process is engineered to feel it's summarized as a clean 3-step simplicity model. And crucially, they emphasize 2 things: speed and minimal data collection.
Which directly confronts the prevailing